this is Scott Carpenter, and welcome to another episode of the Sasquatch Awareness Project. Tonight I wanted to do a real quick video concerning EMF fields. And you know, in the past I've talked about infrasound and how infrasound and magnetism, electromagnetics, and electricity, and all this, it's all related. It's like water. You know, water is a liquid, a gas, and solid. And I think, you know, energy, I think electricity, electromagnetics, or magnetism, and sound are all interchangeable. One can create the other, and vice versa. And so here recently I've been I purchased just an inexpensive EMF electronic magnetic field sensor, and it's not $20, you know, off of Amazon, and it's accurate as far as it, you know, if I turn it on and you know, like right now, the top number is what the field is, and you know, usually and normally in the house, and it's kind of high here, but it's kind of pointed, you know, everything gives off EMF, at least in our world, electronically. But when I go up to the, see, it starts alarming, and I'm going to hit hold here so you can see it. So like that's coming off the monitor, and that's what it looks like when the EMF field goes off, and it's high. In other words, it's not the recommended field level for a human being. That's what it goes to. Of course, that's not what I'm getting right here. You know, where I'm sitting, it's about a 10 or 11, and out in the woods, it's actually 3 or 4, or sometimes even 0, which is good. But you know, if I go up to a light fixture or whatever, if I even get close to the camera's giving off a field. I don't know if it's going to. It might get all the way up to 40, almost to the. It gets on up there. So, but I've been using this in the field because, you know, I actually saw an episode that Steve did where, you know, people were talking about EMF fields and the possibility that the Sasquatch are creating those, and the effects they can have on the body, just like infrasound. I think, you know, like I said, they're interchangeable. And one of the effects, or the things that a Sasquatch can do, is called zapping. And that's where you feel an electric shock. And or at least when I experienced zapping, that's what I felt. And other people I've talked to have told me it's like an electric shock. So I started carrying this. I've been carrying it for about a couple months. And about 2 weeks ago, went out into the, went hiking, and I got hit 3 times. Me alone, 3 different times. Like I would be at a certain, like I got hit, you know, where the portal's at, I got hit there twice. I got hit and it quit. And then I took a couple steps, it hit again and quit. And then later on, up the trail at a different location, about almost a mile away, I got hit again. And it seemed to be only me. I was with a small group of people. And then yesterday, on my fun hike, I had it with me again. And again, I was at the location where it had the portal. I'll show it. It's shell. I thought it was granite, but it's actually not. It's I believe it's shell. It's or sandstone. I think it's shell. But it's, you know, a big rock outcropping, and right beside the trail. And again, there was a group of 9 of us this time. The last time the group was only 3 or 4, but there was 9 of us, and I got hit again with about you know, with in the high 40s, low 50s, enough to make it alarm. And so it went off again with that group. And the interesting thing was, there was a fella in the group that had one of these as well. Actually, his was a lot nicer than mine. He had an EMF, and he had it on and in his pocket, and I had mine on and in my pocket, and we were standing about 10 feet apart. Mine was going off and his was not. Never did go off. So this EMF field was directed at me. And this is in an area where I've got all kinds of stuff. That's where the portal happened. I've got footprints there. I got movement, one pumping up. I got the one that's up on the hill looking around a tree at me. Just all kinds of activity in this one spot. And it's always the spot where, whenever I take somebody with me that's never been on this trail, they always, everybody says they get the creeps in this one spot. And so it's where the portal energy is. But here's the wild thing. So you say, okay, Scott, there's something in the rocks. There's something right there in the trail where that portal formed that's giving off these EMF, it's generating this EMF field. The problem is, it doesn't do it all the time. In other words, I walk up, it's not doing it. I'm standing there for a minute, I get hit, and then it quits and doesn't do it again. And I take the EMF meter and I go up against the rocks, and there's nothing. Nothing on the rocks. I do me, there's nothing on me. Even my cell phone, it doesn't go off on the cell phone. I have batteries in my pocket. If nothing goes off on the batteries, of course, if this thing's in the lower pocket away from the batteries, but it doesn't matter, it doesn't go, the batteries don't set it off either. And so apparently, some friends of mine up there with long hair and 7 foot tall, hairy bodies, are directionally hitting me with EMF fields. Now, what does that mean? I don't know yet. And I don't know, it's not for a very long time. It's usually, every time it's lasted 10, 20, maybe 30 seconds at the most, and then it quits. And the highest it's been it was like 190 a couple weeks ago on top of the mountain at a different location. And then down, it's been between 55 and 90 in the around the portal area. And like I said, right now it's like clockwork. Every time I go and stand in that area, I get hit by something. So, and it's directed at me. I mean, we saw that with, like I said, the other guy sitting there. He's got one on. I got one on. His goes off. Mine goes off. His doesn't. So, I'm just throwing it out there. Is this a Sasquatch locator? No. But I think if you've got it and got it on, and they're hitting you with infrasound or some sort of, EMF, if they're hitting you, if they're directing some energy at you, it's going to pick it up and going to let you know. Because something was generating an EMF field, and it was directed at me. And it's been, this has been repeatable. And so, it's kind of crazy. But, if you're someone, like, I don't recommend you research, but if you do research, I am going to recommend you get one of these. And even if you don't research, this would be a good thing. Some people like, if you getting the feeling, getting the pressure they're around, and you got one of these on that starts going off, then you're probably getting hit with the infrasound. So, like I said, these things are, like I said, inexpensive. This one charges USB. One charge will do it do me for a couple times. It's accurate as well. It's good enough to tell me, when the fields are high. And I don't need a, precise instrument. I just want to know if something's hitting me. Now, the physical effects, a couple weeks ago when I got hit, I didn't have anything. When I got home yesterday evening, I did have an unexplained, I don't get headaches hardly ever, and I had a headache. Now, it wasn't like a migraine. Some people I know that encounter Sasquatch when they hit them with infrasound, EMF, whatever they hit them with, they get, really bad migraines. But I was real fortunate, and I just had a headache, and some Tylenol took care of it. So, and, it's just one time, so I can't like say, oh yeah, they always give me, if this starts happening on a regular basis, and every time I get hit, I have a headache that evening, then we'll know. But I can't 100% say that. But I just want to bring it to everybody's attention. could be something that would help you, know if they're around, or know if, you're being hit in an EMF. Let's be honest. If you're out in the woods, out in the wilderness, where I'm going hiking, or, somewhere like that where there are no EMFs, like if you're hiking and you don't have any equipment on you, it ought to be 0 to 3 or 4. I think, just the ambient, I noticed, is around 2 to 3 here on your little V meter here. And so, so if something's generating enough to make these guys alarm, saying, hey, you don't need to be in this area, this is too much EMF, it's, quote, danger zone, then something's got to be generating it. And so, you could say it's naturally occurring, but it's naturally occurring and targeting one human being. That's the problem. I could almost say, okay, it's naturally occurring in certain conditions. The wind has to blow, the temperature has to be right, something has to happen, and then the field will be generated, and you just happen to be there during the time it's generated. The problem is, I was there and it was going off, and another person was there 10 feet away and had a meter and it wasn't going off. And we switched positions. He walked to me and his still didn't go off. So, like I said, that kind of lends to the credence that something's creating it and something's directing it at me. I have a theory that they're not happy that I'm bringing people. I mean, I'm just hiking. We're not squatching, and but we're just hiking, and we're just enjoying the day. It's not like we're going out specifically looking for anything. But they know me. That's a place that I've researched in the past, and so I'm known. Sasquatch know who I am, and all I can. I'm just guessing. This is an EWAG, an educated wild blank guess. Is that they're not happy with me, or displeased that I'm bringing people up there. It's a public trail. I don't know. Maybe they're aware that I have this on me, and maybe they know they can set it off, and it's just a way of them saying hi. And that's another possibility. Sky's the limit. But something for you to think about. Like I said, something for you to try out. If you're a researcher, or even if you're not, be something to have on you to kind of help give you a leg up, especially if this thing starts going off, and is directed at you. Then that'd be a pretty good ideal. If let's put it this way, if this thing would have gone off and stayed on, and if I kept walking, in other words, if this thing was directly hitting me, I would have probably left the area. I would have left the area, because I don't think it would be good to expose yourself long term to an EMF field. But since they just hit for like 20-30 seconds and quit, I didn't feel like I was in any danger. But of course, somebody put in the comments that that may be more knowledgeable than me in EMF fields, and what I've Googled it and I can't. I mean, there's basically it's all generics. Like, well, just don't, you shouldn't stay in a high EMF field. It could have health effects from migraines to dizziness to blah, 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 blah. And that's all great and good. It's just, does that mean, and they all allude to it's a long-term thing. In other words, like if you're constantly around a high EMF field, it's a cumulative thing. So I didn't feel like I was in a lot of danger. But like I said, if things started going off and wouldn't shut off, no matter if I walked another quarter of a mile and it continued to go off, then I'd probably leave. There's no use exposing myself to that kind of EMF. Go somewhere else and hike or fish or hunt or whatever I was doing. So anyway, I think I babbled enough about it. But it's just something you ought to look into. It's I try to get, when something happens, especially something I think would be helpful to everybody, I think that would be helpful. And I don't have a brand, I don't have any stake or any sponsorship. I'm just saying, if you want to, do it. If you can afford it, if you can't, don't worry about it. But, I think it, like I said, you can probably get these things even less than $20. But anyway, I think that's about it for now. I'll have another episode here pretty soon on on the wrap up there of the Sasquatch Awareness Project series. And until then, guys, everybody take care, be safe, and God bless.